My name is Dylan CineMasai Green, and welcome to the Real Notes podcast. I speak with rappers, producers, journalists, and other hip-hop adjacent figures about their relationship with movies, and, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is South Carolina-born singer, instrumentalist, producer, and creative technologist, JAIYN. We spoke about Reasonable Doubt, Irma Vep, being raised in South Carolina and coming to New York, picking up guitar and singing, the intersection of music and tech, working with zayALLCAPS and his Autotune Karaoke label, and the creative process behind 2023's Kissing the Machine and her self-titled EP from the top of this year. Come fuck with us. Forgot, but what's going on? What's going on in your world? It's been a little minute since we got to talk.
Yeah, really nothing much. I've been just telling everybody it's just like work music, thinking about how I want to expand in certain areas and just work music, regulating my nervous system, activities for that. But yeah, music's going pretty well right now. And I'm very, very grateful. I think around the time I seen you last, I was wording it in a way where I felt like I'm starting to see the blossoming of all the seeds that I've like planted over like a long period of time. So I'm still in that state, and I was like the beginnings of the blossoming. So it's, continuing. So I'm very grateful, just trying to stay consistent and regulated.
Yeah, that's all it is at the end of the day. I'm doing the exact same, like my birthday was yesterday, so I'm just like coming thank you. It's coming back from that, like I'm in front of a computer a lot of my life, so I kind of made myself a vow that I was going to close my laptop at noon and just go out into the world. It still got my phone, and I mean, like, how that goes. But like I went out to go get like lunch with my family, and went into the city. I got dinner with my partner. We saw a movie. We went to an arcade, and we're just like out and about, just like on some. I don't know. It just like it felt good to be like, yeah, I'm not working today. I work so much, and like I'm not always able to like take my birthday off, but this year I was like, I'm taking my birthday off this year. We're gonna go outside and go be a person for 18 hours type shit.
Definitely, everyone deserves to, like,
Yeah, totally. And I'm so happy. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. I'm so happy to be here. Post birthday vibes. Feeling great. It's 3:00 in the afternoon, a nice little overcast March day. I think we're like a day or two removed from the solstice or the equinox. My fault. It's the equinox. Or is it? I always mix them up. Is it the equinox or the solstice that's coming up?
Okay. I don't know, because I thought those are not interchangeable. I guess I want to say it's because one of them is like the initiation of spring.
Yeah, it's the equinox, the spring equinox. Yeah. It's spring. It's spring and June, spring and fall of the equinox. Yeah, spring and fall of the equinoxes, and winter and summer are the solstices. There we go.
Yes, cool. Yes, summer solstice, spring equinox.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we're on that. We're at that point. We're like right on the cusp of the spring equinox, and it's always nice to be born at the offset of spring, damn near. But my name's Dylan Green, CineMasai. Got a lot of names, do a lot of shit all over the place, outside, inside, all sides, and I'm with somebody else who, yeah. Once again, nobody who comes on here isn't outside, inside, all sides, but like this is so you and I, the first time I met my guest today, I think the first time we met was at Generator, was at the finals.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure.
Pilot show, but it was not. It was at Generator. Like it was like one of the very, very first ones, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yeah, and you were spinning, and I remember you were spinning the No Worries record.
Mm-hmm.
It was fire.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, like I was so happy to be invited there, and it was you, me, our mutual homie Yolanda Watson. Shout out to Yolanda, and somebody else who was with us a good chunk of the night. But like, hmm?
I think it was Justin.
Yes, it was Justin. Yeah, shout out to Justin. So yeah, it was just like us there, and then like, and then that night you sent me, or within the last couple days after that, you sent me your EP you had out at the time, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And
Thank you so
then
much.
and then you and Tyler Merkaba, who also is an alum of this pod. Like y'all did a show together in Brooklyn, and then I got to see you. I got to see you perform a bit. It was once again great. So
Thank you.
like this is something this is something I'd had in the back of my head for a while. Your self-titled EP, you dropped it at the tail end of last year. I think it wound up on DSPs like at the top of this year or like
Yeah,
pretty recently, right?
yeah, yeah. I told myself I wanted it out to be out in the world at least like on Bandcamp by the end of the year,
Right.
and then I was like going to release it into the world in February, like
Got
officially.
you. Cool.
Thank you
So,
so much.
yeah, no, my pleasure. Yeah, and like I haven't even done the proper intro yet. Like my like my guest today. They're a musician, producer, instrumentalist, creative coder, creative technologist, fucking just like audio, analog, physical, digital type shit all over the place. JAIYN is here. JAIYN, IYN, not any here. Self-titled EP out everywhere now. Please go listen to it. JAIYN, thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy you're here.
Man, no, thank you for having me. This means so much. Like, I remember a long time ago, like I was talking to Zay, and Zay was one who told me about the podcast. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing a podcast," but it was like when I was like newer into like doing music and stuff. So like and newer to, I guess, outlets for music and things like that. So that's when I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! That's so sick. You're like doing that." Also, I think you have the same birthday as Andrew. I'm assuming like I think
Yeah, he was
I
just telling me that yesterday, which is crazy. Like you just never ever know. Like he and I were talking. Like shout out to Andrew Finals, Andrew Matson. Shout out to Zay too. Also an alum of the pod. Like we all we're a big Autotune Karaoke zayALLCAPS household. So shout out
yeah.
to them. But this is about you. I'm so happy you're here. I really love this project. I think it's super fun, and like we're gonna dig into all the things I like about it, but we're gonna get to that later because I gotta do my usual shit. Ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here, which is, what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Oh wow. All right. All right. All right. I can see one for both. Movie. Okay, two movies. It Irma Vep,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is like I think it came out sometime in the '90s. It's with the lead actress in the Mood for Love, and it's
Uh huh.
actually it's like a documentary style like movie. Like in the movie, they're shooting a movie, and and it's like a documentary of them shooting this movie concept, which is like this silent film called Irma Vep, which is like a rendition of a silent film, and this is
Mm-hmm.
all in the plot of the movie. Like, so I was looking up it, and the movie is actually an original silent film, like a series of silent films from like the early 1900s. But it was so crazy just to see like a documentary style um, portrayal of like the film industry, but still going through like a fiction narrative, but still blending it in with like real life elements with conversation with the main actress. That was really cool. And Irma Vep is an anagram for vampire, so it's hard as
Mm-hmm.
fuck too.
That's
Um,
dope. Yeah, I'm looking
right?
at this right now. I've never heard of this before.
Yo,
Like
it's so
this sounds crazy. Like I'm
no.
adding this to my watch list like right now.
And then I saw this other movie. It was a movie earlier. I forgot when it came out, but it was a long time ago. It was a rendition, a biopic of I think the birth of the blues of like W.C. Handy, and it was this super stacked lineup of um like Nat King Cole, Eartha Kitt, Mahalia Jackson, I
Mahalia
think.
Jackson, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. It was a crazy lineup. And it had no reason being that stacked. And it was just fire seeing like how jazz or the blues came about. It's called St. Louis Blues in this biopic narrative with these big figures. Um that was cool. And then this last show, Reasonable Doubt, um, I'm
Reasonable doubt,
really
yeah.
enjoying it. Fire theme song. I'm pretty sure like most of my friends have started this show because of me, and it's like a central point of my life. So it's part of my daily conversations. So they end up just becoming a part of the show as well.
Wow. So I'm probably gonna break your heart and say that I still haven't started Reasonable Doubt yet. But you're not the only person I know who really fucks with that show. And it's been on my list for a minute, and I'm gonna finally get into it at some point. But tell me, I feel like maybe one other person has brought this up on here. I can't remember, but tell me why. I'm gonna have to go back and look and see who it was. But tell me why you love Reasonable Doubt so much. Like people who love this show, like really love this show.
It's so many complex layers. It's not just television to me. Like, in a way, it is. But I found out later after the fact that Kerry Washington directed it. I didn't watch much of Scandal, so, but I was like, it is a show, first of all, Black woman lead actress. And I think at the
Hmm.
basis, we just don't really have much like contemporary Black TV. I feel like with just where we're seeing people in different age ranges grow up and go navigate different things. And maybe because I don't see much of that media, whenever I do see, I attach to it really well. But on top of all
Yeah.
that, I just think the narrative, the acting is really good. Lead actress is amazing. Um, the music is fire. For some reason, I just like watching shows that are like in LA. But and I even think on a small level, it's like super messy. It's really really messy. But I watch the
Yeah.
conflicts happen and I'm like, wait, that was a healthy way to navigate this conversation and conflict right now. Like the situation is very very super messy, but that was a healthy conversation. They got therapists in it. Like it's cool. It's just a cool watch and it's new. So season 4 is coming out in August. So all my friends will be coming here and I'll be putting on the grill for that and celebrating.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
I wanna jump back to the point you made about there being kind of like a lack of like a lack of just like black centered television in that specific way, because like the last show that I know I really grappled onto that was anywhere near that direction was something like Atlanta. Like Atlanta really spoke to me. Yeah, and yeah, I mentioned it with the last guest I had on here, Layla from Big Culture and Arts Festival. Like Atlanta is, to me, like it was like appointment viewing when it came on. It was, just like blackness told from not necessarily a different perspective, but
Mhm.
it felt like about as well rounded in some ways. Like there's certain aspects of that show that I didn't like then and have probably aged even worse since the show started. But they're minor's the wrong word, but they're not like deal breakers. It's very much
Yeah.
like you can tell Donald Glover and his team had like the vision in one aspect and had certain blind spots in other aspects. But like Atlanta was something that really spoke to me as like a millennial who grew up in like the Dat Piff era. Like like just to see that level of representation and specificity for a specific segment of blackness made me really happy. Like I
Yes.
like and I can't really imagine, like, even though I wasn't a huge Insecure fan and didn't finish the series, like those two shows I think might have been the last two that really struck the mother lode of cultural relevancy and touched people
Hmm.
in that specific way. And like
Yeah.
we're coming up on like being 10 years removed from when those shows went off the air, which is a crazy thing to think about. But like, it's and that isn't to say that shows don't exist. I mean, like P Valley to me is a show that I think fits a
Oh
really
yeah.
nice Like I think P Valley fits in there really well. I think there's other examples and I'm blanking on them, and I'm gonna be mad and regret this when I listen to this again in 2 weeks. But like, um, but we're definitely not at that point where it's like, you think about back in like the 90s and the early 2000s, you think about like A Different World and
Hmm.
Martin and Jamie Foxx, and like I've been binging a lot of Living Color recently. Like there was like it was almost like an overload of like black sitcoms
Yes,
and black
yes.
comedy, black drama. Like you're thinking like Girlfriends and Living Single. Like it's just all these. Once again, it was about 80 different things you could watch at any given time, and not to say that there isn't a ton of options now. I just don't think there are as many that have like taken a hold, and not even in like a niche sort of way.
Mhm.
Like I would say. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling, but I'm mostly just saying that I think I agree with your point. You know.
No, yeah, no, it's so important. I feel like the more these things exist or just get renewed for other seasons, no shade, like
Yeah.
we get to expand and feel more seen as like black people, and I think that's so important. Like uh the people that like the pockets of I guess characters in like Atlanta and then like Reasonable Doubt and then Insecure, like whatever this whole like world, more people are just going to keep being seen. So that's what I think is important. And it's just
Word.
cool to just like know that you can watch TV and like just turn something on and be seen. It's not like at the end of the day.
Right. And there's and see, now that we've been talking about it, there's two others I forgot. They're kind of hard to find and not exactly like, like I mean, like one of them kind of has more broad appeal than the other is definitely more niche. The first one is Random Acts of Random Acts of Flyness on
Oh wait,
HBO.
I've heard of that one.
It's I don't know how to
Oh wait,
describe.
I've seen that. Oh well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That one's crazy.
Random Acts of Flyness is like, for anybody who hasn't seen it, I don't know how to describe what Random Acts of Flyness is, because like it's got like the first season has kind of, they both have narratives and there's like a story going on, but it's also kind of similar to the the
Mm,
documentary style. It's not exactly documentary. It's like a bunch of different, it's almost like a living audio visual collage of different influences and styles, and like there's like narrative going on, there's like surrealism going on, there's like just like full blown art. It's weird, it's so cool. I loved it, I thought it was dope.
yes.
Definitely not for everybody. It's like an acquired taste kind of, like very high palette type of show, but I really fuck with it. um and the other one was Rap Shit, the Issa Rae produced
Oh
show
damn,
with
yeah. I never.
I see I started the first season and like I blew through it in like 2 days. I loved Rap Shit, and then I didn't watch the second season, and then they canceled it after the second season. So I was like, damn, like I really should have. Yeah, I still haven't even finished the second season, but like I loved the first season. I was super into it at the time. I love Ida Osman, and her whole thing. I think she's a great actress, and um yeah, just like those two, I think those two have their fans, but neither one of them had that kind of, just it didn't they didn't have that chokehold on the consciousness that like a show like Insecure or Atlanta did, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also thinking of like uh another movie. This is just me kind of circling back, but also it's black, so I'm gonna say it anyway.
Let's go.
Um Baptized by Fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Koch and Kwame Brandon scored it. It came out like it was released on I think streaming recently, but that was so fire. And I just think everyone just really needs to go watch it. It's like 15 minutes. I think it's on like YouTube and stuff. But like I don't even want to speak too much on it. I just need people like you need to go see it. It's
Word.
actually insane.
Yeah, yeah, no, especially if it's on YouTube. And yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah, and like literally,
shout out to Kwame too. Yeah, no,
people
shout out to the
just
homie.
seeing everyone, people that do like things is always so inspiring. It's like my main motivating factors in life, you know,
Big
with the
time.
homies.
Big fucking time. I want to run. So yeah, I want to run back and go through your viewing history and listening history a little bit before we start to fully dig into the artistry. So, Jane, what's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater. It could be at your cousin's house. Just like the first thing that comes to mind for you.
Damn, that's so crazy. Mm, I don't even really. Okay, so off my head, first answer, I can think of like some of the Princess Diaries movies. I love those. I don't even, maybe it's like a comfort thing that I circle back around to. And there's this other one called like, oh, I think it's called like Happily Never After. It was like some
Yeah,
weird,
I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
over the hedge, and um, I did like the why am I bring it on with Solange. Those are probably like in
Which which Bring It On was Solange in? I know she's not in the first one with Gabby Union and
all or nothing.
Oh right, okay, yeah, the sequel. Right. Okay. I remember
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I mean, I feel like everyone would say I'm missing my favorites now, but I feel like everyone would say Coraline. But it was my a foundational movie for me as well too.
Coraline's amazing. I don't I don't blame you at all. That's a yeah, yes, like that's a pretty diverse palette. That's a pretty diverse palette of movies. What I mean like what was it yeah, what was it about some of those that really kind of stuck out to you then, and if you've revisited them recently, what sticks out to you about them now? Like, I mean, I guess just to narrow it down, let's talk about Coraline, Bring It On, and Over the Hedge. I'm so
Okay,
curious about those three.
okay. I think Coraline is just what is it about? I think I'm gonna circle back to Coraline. I can say for Bring It On, All or Nothing. Maybe that's also kind of um maybe it was just the idea of the storyline. Um and I'm from the South. I'm from South Carolina. So seeing these blends of like race and um I'm trying to figure out how I want to say it. But I don't know. It was just a really fun movie and I think that if you watched it today, like some of the things would like age very terribly and stuff. But um, I think it was honestly a you can look at it now as an ironic like parody of I guess um, how people who I guess are put into a certain environment that's totally opposite from them, and I guess how they navigate that because it was like this one I think like rich white girl was moving to going to a different school because her dad got a new job and like a lot of the school there they were black and they cheered and then the white girl cheered and then like there was stuff like that so but
Mm.
yeah, no, it was just nice. And it was like 2000s. Rihanna was in it at the end, and I like Rihanna. So, and she's on it at the very, very end. So I remember like wanting to watch it to get to like, to be able to end it to see Rihanna. But yeah, Coraline, I think it's probably just the blending of different worlds and that idea of like escapism as a child and like, um, just different realms you can traverse and go down. And I think it was also one of those movies that was like deemed as like a kid movie, but it was also kind of scary, so you felt like you were hard for like watching it, you know, because it was
Yep.
like a little creepy. But that was cool, and I think um, I didn't even necessarily see it as that. I think it was beautiful when I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. But I even think like today, just those um, things that I think that there are a lot of deep undertones and depth to that film as well. And I feel like um, I parallel with that in the sense of uh, the things that or the way that I portray myself or exist. Maybe that is existing with like some depth and like some darkness, but I think it's in a digestible way. Um, and I think you can still exist in these things and it not have to like reign over in this like colloquial, just like how you picture, I guess, uh, taboo or dark things, you know. I guess, you know, it was like seen as fun, you know, dressed up in with frills and stuff. So that's how I relate as well. Over the Hedge was just cool. Um, Portrayal of suburbia and animals. Um, yeah, I think skunks was just like a phenomenon to me. They didn't seem real. I don't really have no connection to it currently, but I would watch it again.
Yeah.
And vending machines. I don't know. The vending machines in that movie, like I always think about Over the Hedge whenever I see vending machine for literally no reason.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So I haven't seen Over the Hedge and has to have been at least like 15, maybe even closer to 20 years at this point. But I do remember enjoying it quite a bit. And Coraline's one I've seen more than a few times. I love that movie. I love Leica everything. They make a movie, I'm gonna go watch it at this rate. Bring It On is one that once again wasn't super close to my heart growing up, but I've uh I've come to appreciate those movies a lot as I've gotten older. Um, yeah, like they're just I don't know.
Madam,
There's something about like the sports archetype being kind of like put on to like a cheerleader that I think is pretty cool. You know?
yeah, I feel like especially around that age and stuff in that time, I don't think I was looking for anything deep and create like a depthful or something super limited,
Right? Yeah.
silly frill movies. So yeah.
Right. So let's jump to that next specifically because I like to think of this as like a capital M movie. Like as you get older, there's typically like something that kind of stops you in your tracks and connects with you in a emotional, artistic, or spiritual way. Like, can you remember the one of the earliest examples of those you can think of? It doesn't have to be like the very first one, but like just one that kind of had that impact on you at some point in your life.
That's a good question. Uh, Early, I could say different things that I've watched in the past 3 years, but the earliest thing I can remember, I think it was this Drew Barrymore film with called Poison Ivy, and the only reason I knew about the film was because I
I
really
remember
like
Poison Ivy.
SZA, and SZA was talking about it, and so I watched the movie. Um, Crazy storyline at some point in it, but that was like my idea of like, oh, movies exist that aren't Hollywood blockbusters, or like maybe it was, but like I think I'd only really seen and understood film in the context of like, I guess, just big movies that you go to see. I didn't, you know, I wasn't thinking of, beyond that. So that one was cool. And then around that time, I think that's also when like I got into a lot of like fake, not horror, but suspenseful films like Rosemary's Baby and like The
Mm-hmm.
Shining, classic stuff like that. But um, recently, I really movie that I go back to very, very often. It's called The Color of the Pomegranates, and that one stuck out to me because Nicholas Jar, I think, scored it, and I really liked the scoring or like Nicholas Jar. And that is just like a beautiful, like I feel like painting on film. And then Ganja and Hess,
Mm-hmm. The
my
classic.
yeah, Ava put me on. Um, like retelling just like these, well, Ganja and Hess at least retelling these classic stories like a vampire, but like through the lens of like black people, and then bringing in themes of like religion as well. Like, and it was film. It was beautiful, and I like that movie because I feel like you can add. I like the idea of um, adding, or just older films like that, adding the element of suspense, finding different ways to do that besides like
these grand things that people would find scary. I guess doing things more implicitly and suggestive kind of makes things more eerie.
Yeah.
But that was really well and was really nice, and I enjoyed the scoring for that as well too.
Yeah, no, it's come up on here more than a few times, and for good reason. But Ganja and Hess is definitely one of those, you know. And like I think about it so often because I remember uh Spike Lee did he remade it, or like he did like a reimagining of it called what was it called, the Sweet Blood of Jesus is what the Spike Lee version is, and it's terrible. I hate
Yeah,
it. It's dumpster juice, garbage. You might as well just yeah, like it was like it was interesting. I could kind of see the vibe he was trying to go for, but it's not it doesn't,
yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't compare at all, you know. But like Ganja and Hess is like it can't be stated enough how cool and interesting and just like eerie that movie is, you know. Like that's like a that's one you gotta like put that in the rafters of just like yeah, because like especially within that tradition of just like black horror, like to a certain extent ish.
Mm,
Like I would even lump that into like black queer horror in certain ways, you know. Like it's like it's an interesting complex one that more people should talk about and watch. Like, you know, it's just I love that movie. I think it's great. And I wanted to. This is the first time this has ever happened on here, but Poison Ivy. My mom had a copy of Poison Ivy with Drew Barrymore
oh,
on it on DVD. So I think that might have been the first time or like I saw it somewhere. It was like somewhere in my crib for whatever reason. One of my parents had it. I couldn't tell you why, but like that was. I remember watching that pretty young, and I haven't seen it since. But like you just unlocked that. I haven't thought about that movie in years. So that was that. Yeah, yeah, that's a deep cut. That's a fucking deep cut.
yeah, for real. It was so good. Oh, for my silly movie, I also want to add whatever I can take away one of those. I don't really know which one, but I would add in Beauty Shop, 2005.
Oh, the Queen Latifah. Yeah, no, classic.
Everything I just said, potentially. I love that
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Cool. Yeah, no, that movie's great. Love it. Yeah, and just like you know, Queen Latifah, Jersey's finest. I'm always gonna any chance I get to talk about Queen Latifah, I'll take that chance. Um, but okay, so you know, considering all of that, I want to do the same thing for music. So for you, when did music become capital M music for you? You know, not in terms of you wanting to make it, but just in terms of you being fascinated by and enjoying music, you know, at any level.
Mm. It really, honestly, always has. As silly as it sounds, like this music has been a part of my life so long, I can't even tell because I knew it was like piano and guitar, but I don't even know like which one was first at this point. Uh, but I don't even know. I know it's always been a thing. At some point, my brother is older than me, and at some point they were in band, and at some point he was doing a part of the band, not drumline, but the people who do the marimbas, but they're still percussion. So he
Mm-hmm.
had a keyboard. So I would like use the keyboard and draw the notes. Also, my grandma has a keyboard, um, and a piano, um, in the house. So I would just like kind of always play it. Um, yeah, I don't even know. I was on like church, like every single thing in the church, like you could probably have to do. I did. So
Right.
music was really, truly always there, but maybe when I was, as soon as I could start remembering, like 7 or 8, I could say. But yeah, my parents had hella CD cases. Um, so even then, I was like really super young, doing crazy things like burning my own CDs, just to like put in the car whenever my like mom was driving, and I was like super young, maybe not even like 8 years old. Um, like using LimeWire and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
my parents would do stuff like that, make their own mix CDs. So it's kind of always been there since I was young.
What was some of the stuff you were burning from LimeWire and putting onto CDs at 8 years old?
Yo. Okay, like at one point, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was obsessed with Selena Gomez. Like, I don't know what it was, but like A Year Without Rain, or it was Naturally. It was one of those. But like, I literally burned. I don't think, or that could have been after the fact. I don't really know. But I remember at some point I burned the CD like that, and I made a lyric video and put it on YouTube. Like, I was going crazy. But yeah, like it was nuts. I don't know. It was probably just some super popular song. Wasn't nothing super niche, most likely not like at 8, but or some things that my mom would listen to, like a lot of Danity Kane was
Hmm.
thumping crazy. So there would be a lot of that on there, like Pussycat Dolls. Um, Prima J, which is like they did this movie with like Bratz, so like that was one.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, a lot of stuff like that.
That's dope. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I relate. You know, I was I was definitely listening to like teeny bopper pop and
My fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the Real Notes Patreon one time. For as little as $5 a month, you get exclusive goodies like video of every interview, 2-day early access to every interview, an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, exclusive access to the Real Talk Movie Night archive, and early pre-sale links for all live events. If you want to give a little more, you get other exclusives like retro 60-second movie reviews and monthly 90-minute workshops with me, where we can discuss whatever creative questions or projects you might have going on. Head over to patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES to join right now. I repeat, all videos will only be available on the Patreon. Thanks for listening. Shout out to my patrons. Now let's get back to talking.
fucking just like what yeah, just like whatever was coming in through a combination of like stuff happening on like BT 106 in Park, Rap City. Yeah, no, we were like a Radio Disney household for a pretty
Yep.
decent amount of time too. So like it's like all the pop coming from that, and like you'd get like the occasional weird artist who was like only popping in like the UK because they
Mhm.
got like because like Disney got them to like do a theme song for somebody like it's like that's the type of shit that like makes you a well-rounded listener. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of golden gems to be found in those pop star minds, especially in the 2000s, just like good shit all around, you know
For real.
until
Yes.
it's not some of this is bad, but you know
Yes, the inevitable. And my
yeah.
brother put me on. Well, he had like a PSP, so I would steal the PSP, and that's when I got put on like Wiz Khalifa, like Rolling Papers, a lot of Kid Cudi, like a lot of Kanye,
Yeah.
um, a lot of Kid Cudi, like early Kendrick. He put me on overly dedicated by Kendrick.
Hmm.
So like that was a lot of my ear that I listened to today came from my brother as well too. His PSP I
That's
was
Yeah, no, shout out to the PSP. It put a yeah, people. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody on the phone before we hopped on about just like the PSP and how that was like this portal into a lot of people's different music styles and tastes, and like people would trade the UMDs back, and yeah, like I mean, like the PSP's super underrated aspect of like file sharing and music sharing and media sharing because it came with movies too. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was I loved my PSP for
I
all
really
those
want.
reasons.
dead ass. I don't even play games for real, but I want a PSP.
If you go to certain sections of the TikTok, I'm on TikTok. There was a period of time I was getting crazy ads for like refurbished PSPs. Like they sell them in
No.
like good condition and everything. I'll send you a link later because it's cool, and they're not cheap, but they're also not like super. You're not going to be paying like Switch prices for like one of these.
Yeah. Oh
They're right. And I'm happy you brought up Kid Cudi because I went digging and I found this slowed, reverbed, and faded Kid Cudi
yeah.
remix that you
Nice
made.
college, and I was like, yo, just doing bullshit. I needed to listen to some good music while I was doing bullshit.
Yeah, no, it looks like this is called That Girl. It's from like about 5 6 years ago. I listened to it. It's really fun. I like it. Like I want to I want to know more about like this era of you. So talk to me about this song, like stuff like that, and what's the other one? The Party Next Door, Slowed and Re. Like it's like that era of your music. Like walk me through that a little bit.
That's so funny. All right, so that era is, first of all, I really like those songs, and I needed to hear them slowed and reverb for certain reasons in my life, and I I didn't want to copyright, so I spelled it weird so it could be on there. But that period of my life, I was like, whatever, I want to hear these for my personal reasons. And on top of all of that, it's like, oh, like I fake want to do music, but I don't want to commit to it for real, for real. I'm gonna put out these slow reverb things. Like, what the hell? Sure, it's easy. I'm making music. I'm creative. That's
Yeah.
really true, all it is. And I was maybe like, I don't know, 19 or 20 at the time. Uh, just using I don't even know, like a dog that I had a free trial of.
Mm.
Yeah, I ended up, crazy enough, I can now play that song on guitar, the Kid Cudi one. So it all comes full circle. Like all
Full
these songs that
circle, man.
I'm revisiting in a musical context to I wouldn't go out of my way to slow and reverb a song just and do nothing else to it unless it was my song today.
Right.
But fire.
Um, but like everybody's got to start somewhere, and like the idea is the thing that snowballs into what like your whole practice has turned into. But I mean, like on that note, since we're here, when did you know music was going to become more than just a hobby? Like when did it go from I just want to make some bullshit that I can hear while I'm working and like just like this remix of this song I like to I'm gonna make a stab at this and go be a musician.
So like even prior to those SoundCloud mixes, I would have that exact same startup that you just described for like 3 week bursts at a time, or maybe it'll last like a month and a half. Like probably since over 10 times since I was like super young. So I would be doing something like, oh, I would start playing guitar over and over again. I'm doing that a lot. I'm like, "Ah, I really want to, do this. And you have these like uh, ideas of living conventional lifestyles being thrown in your head. So I was doing that in that cycle for like, I don't even want to say it out loud, but it was over 10 years. Like, what? Thinking about it now,
Hmm.
like, but even longer than that. And then I was in college. Some point had that same spiral of living and am I going to do music? Probably like two other times prior to me deciding for real. Like the end of my junior year, senior year, I didn't really know. But I was like, I'm gonna do this. I feel like my curiosity is just like my curiosity is too big to not act on it. Um, so I did a series of acts. Like I was listening to a lot more. Uh, had a lot more of a palette around that time as well. So around that time was in my senior year at college. I had been playing guitar and bass and fucking around in DAWs off a free trial of Logic 3 months. I would get like for free over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I finally did that, and I got some beats, and then like I came to New York to record for my spring break because my brother lived here at the time. So I had been doing that a lot coming to New York. But I was like, this time I'm going to take myself serious. But then prior to me coming, I had like decided that I'm going to do this. So it's okay. Like, all right, how are you going to do this? We need a name. I was thinking about names for a long time. Then I decided on JAIYN. Okay, well, we booked the studio. We're calling ourselves this. We have music to listen to. We're like, so yeah, around senior year, like I put myself in a position to like for it to be too for me to like I can't back out now. I would keep doing that, going further into that, doing um putting myself in those situations, keep recording music. But around my senior year, I would say, of college when I took it serious, of like, yeah, you can call me Jane.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean like with that so like with that name change, when did cuz I mean your music sounds so different than just like the remixes you were doing at the time, and you know like a lot of it's you know like of course like you're an instrumentalist, like a lot of your stuff is pretty heavily synth based. You I'll touch on that in a second. But just like like when did you notice the transition start to happen more toward the type of stuff you're making now? Because like I said, it's a pretty
Mhm.
vast difference. You know, like it's much more you, it's much more self assured and adventurous than it
Yeah.
was before. You know.
Thank you so much. That means
So much. Like I can accredit so many things to this. The I would say one, producing, two, the people I have around me, but um like wait, say the question again. I want to make sure I answer it the points right.
Where like when did you I guess when did you first notice your style start to shift toward what you're
Okay.
making now?
Yeah. Okay, so production. Okay, cool. So around the time I would produce, like I had been producing stuff before made my first song in the studio, which was actually recorded with Sophie. Heard my first track and singing ever in the mic. It was I don't fuck with it at all. But prior to that, I was making stuff in DAWs, and I was like it's so crazy when even I'm still producing and I have an idea of like how to. I was in bands and I was younger as well, but um I was like still just making things. I was like, how come this just don't sound like a classic R&B song? And I was talking to all my friends about this a lot, and I was like when you dead ass don't have no like concept or thing to base your thing off of, you just don't think it's good, or like unless you just have super short, secure like convictions. But I didn't. Like I was new, so but then I started. So like then I was started making my own music. Well, no, I started producing over singing over songs that with my mixtape, Kiss in the Machine, and like Susie, Dolphin, All You Do, and like Zay helped produce on that. So I was making it comfortable, but then like going back into producing or playing my instruments more just allowed me to revisit how I felt in those moments when I was back then making stuff of like, oh, I'm still having this same feeling now. I'm just more sure of myself because I've been doing music. I've just been doing this thing longer. But and then just seeing around that time when I like around Kissing the Machine came out, and after that I started like
Yeah.
doing more production of my stuff. But I kind of really like picked the ball up, and because a lot of my friends were doing cool things, like I see Zay practicing his piano theory. Brandon is like doing the same, making fire stuff, and then also mixing things. So it was just like the concept of like, oh, like we can be self sufficient, and or like, oh, like no, you are also this as well. Like people are in your life for a reason, because So around that time was when I think after Kissing the Machine, like when I started really not only just producing but accepting what my production is. And honestly, it could really truly be at the sometime of mid 2024. Like it was really, it's very recent. I'm becoming like
Hmm.
comfortable with producing. It's just the more reps you do, you just feel um, comfortable. But yeah,
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I know you also hadn't like you did your first live performance ever in life in 2024 as well. So you
yeah.
know, like so, you know, like it makes sense. Like on that timeline makes sense to me. And yeah, and I'm happy you brought up Kissing the Machine because I wanted to dig into that too. Because just like so, it's like the idea, you know, like I'm intrigued by the idea of that title because to me, I hear Kissing the Machine, and that it's like this relationship between you know like analog flesh digital, like that's where my brain goes when I hear something like Kissing the Machine. It's just like kind of finding intimacy and middle ground between the analog and the digital. Like that's how I interpret it. Like that's just like where my brain goes, and then and then like hearing it and like hearing the project, like I still like I very much get that from this music. But since this was around the time things really started to cohere in a way that has followed you for the last like nearly 3 years, talk to me about where the title for this project came from and how you feel it's reflected in the music itself.
Thank you. Yeah. So I actually like your interpretation of it. I may ask you to say it again in case I forget because I don't want to forget. But because like that's how I feel about myself as a whole, and like not middle ground, but kissing the machine. Like in the third, what this third thing gonna be? But kissing the
Word.
machine,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like the title meant like um I just see it as like doing some. It wasn't supposed to be like a um. hmm. I see kissing a machine more as like doing something that you shouldn't, or not that shouldn't be doing. But I see kissing the machine is um like obviously like I'm thinking about if someone were to do that and then get like electrocuted. That's kind of like what I envision of it, but in like a sense of like actions. So maybe if we were to draw that parallel, I think of it as just kind of dismissed of pursuing yourself, like amongst um a lot of things. And that's kind of really what it's about. And I think I want to make sure I say this correctly. Yeah, it was also kind of a play on like Rage Against the Machine, like the rock band.
Sure,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so that was also really the interpretation of it. And I think the first track, Camel Karma, really speaks to that a lot. In the sense, I called it Camel Karma because it's like whether it's like good or bad or not, like sometimes like the thing you're doing, like whatever it is, the karma, whatever is like right in front of you, you don't even see it. But I think that good or bad, like that theme is what I feel with the project Kissing the Machine. Um, but it also just made sense to call it that with the my disciplines that I carry on. So it just makes sense as well. But it really was an ode to the lyrics more than anything versus like the sound. I think it's like sometimes I just feel not sometimes. I have been essentials for so long. Like I think a lot of people have, and just carrying that feeling with me and drawing from these worldly themes of life and existing um, paradoxes, contradictions. That's really what the title and the lyrics I think are about.
Hmm. And like I think that very much speaks to just how eclectic and far reaching like your sound is. Like there's no like I don't listen to your music and I never feel settled in one genre or one place, which I think is very to your benefit. It never sounds like it's all like unwieldy and is just like it's just like a soupy mess, but it's just like your ambitions and your taste is so wide reaching that it all kind of centers into this point. And stuff like I love I Invented the Beach. I think that song is great. it's
Right.
it's 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 so short but like it's like that. I dead think that and Crawl are like I think those two songs together really sum up what the general like thesis of this project is and everything you just said. And yeah, I think those songs are dope.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot. I can't even remember like how that. I don't even remember, but I know when the EP came out, I like was able to like, go to LA and like uh, say my thank you in person. So that really does mean a lot. Um, but yeah, this project was really just a ground, I guess, and access to get myself familiar and comfortable with the fact that, oh, like I do music, like I
Mm.
am. I can't pump fake that. I'm not like this is really what it is. It's here. Um, yeah, hearing my voice in the microphone for the first time, like you know,
Wow.
and I nice to hear because I feel like you saying those comments, like one of the comment things that I struggle with is feeling like I need more of that structure in the sense where I can like carve out something where everything can sit in a way that cause like but all this to say is I think it's cool to hear people say stuff like that to understand that everything can be in these different places and still like be sitting in like a pocket of something.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Nah, that matters, like yeah, because like not everybody, like not everybody wants to be so beholden to genre,
Hmm.
or like beholden to like a specific type of sound. And like I know you mentioned in this processing foundation, creating out of necessity, exploring music, art, and code piece that you wrote about. You wrote about working with while working as the open source software intern, and like like creating your own MIDI sampler. Like you mentioned very early in that piece that you never want to be, or rather that like like being the type of what did you say exactly? You often find yourself in boxes that are atypical, and that perspective is shaped the way yeah, just like being in a box that has no definition, and it just kind of is, you know
Yeah.
and like and yeah, it seems even before you've told me all this, it like that's so clear to me in the way you make music, and hearing you talk about that EP as the thing that really was like, I'm making music now, and then having your first performance be a couple years ago. And so like the EP happens, you do your performance, you start to get more comfortable with the idea of doing music generally. um Talk to me about the process toward making the self-titled, and taking that newfound confidence and that newfound ability, and being like, all right, this is what I started with. This is step number two.
Yeah, like so it really wasn't linear at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um so I thought I was gonna just keep on doing stuff to Kissing the Machine, like more stuff to outreach that. Like the company that sorry, that company that I read the article about, I actually ended up like coding visuals for that with like First Day Out back in college. I didn't have access to have my own video, so I used that software.
Mm.
Something I'm gonna keep up this circle, continue to do stuff and like make music, pour stuff back into what I've already have out. But then at some point, like canon events happen, and that's really what I feel like brings everyone closer to themselves. And I just started playing and making a bunch of music. It was like Loki right after Silk Fest. Wow, like I remember like I started playing my guitar consistently. Like after that first show, started like writing down my chords, playing theory, producing, and I ended up in like through the midst of all this time, like um I'm just in a real discipline mode, and I end up stumbling into another EP, no, an album, which is like really what is like my heart, except from this EP. Uh, and I had been taking a lot of critical theory, like art classes, that also kind of goes to technology, ethics, with SFPs, poetic computation. So I was
Mm.
doing, I had this concept called like moment of sweetness, which is just like uh, an ex- uh, expanding and I guess I don't really know, traversing through blackness and surveillance and ancestry and faith and paranoia and all these themes. And I just felt like my time at the life really aligned with what these fictional devices that I made during that time. So I'm just making music, making music, making music. Um, that really meant a lot to me. And that was like all 2024. And like so much 2025, I stopped at some point in it. And then um, I was like, some point ended up doing this side name for like ambient and experimental work, 451 degree. Um, and that's going on. And then at some point, it was this EP. Didn't even know I was doing an EP. I think it was like August of last year. I made the first track to the EP. I produced it, and then I finished it on Twitch. I have like a Twitch stream up on my YouTube. I like post a lot of those as well, and I literally recorded the like like put that part of like recorded that on Twitch and put that in there. So I thought that was gonna be like my single back into the world after whatever else I had dropped. I don't think I yeah. So then I'm like, so tweak this, I'm gonna just put on the back burner. Ooh, this new album I'm working on, I'm gonna put on the back burner. Um, and I'm gonna revisit this because I really believe, and that's a much bigger thing than what I think it is at this moment. So I'm doing new music. I start with the first track off the EP. I produce that, end up singing over it, and then it's like a late August, and I had a crazy run September. Like I don't think I like grind out beats every day. Like I just end up making a beat, making a song. So like on my off day, I would just like unintentionally be going about my day and then like making a song. So I would just be in the crib all day, but then go out to like go for a run or go get groceries, hang with a friend, and just come back and do this song, work on this song. And I was like in my own little realm. And I did that for literally all the songs on the tape. And I made that between August and November. And then I like finished it in December. But um, I literally posted, I think if you look at my Instagram story, one of my highlights, I think it's the colon one, the two colons. Like you can see every single song on that project on my Instagram story posted in live time because I'm like, I'm geeked. I didn't even know that this was an album until like before Tyler's show. And I was like, oh, I have all these songs. I could package this and make it something to like put out to myself before this other album comes, whatever that's gonna be. So I didn't even know I was in it until like November, October maybe, but like November.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And like, but just considering, like considering all of that, this this project still feels so complete within, like within itself. Even though this is like 5 tracks with a remix and an instrumental to other songs, like I once again just like the different sounds and influences and everything just convening around this I don't know, just like the way you're able to find space between the synth stuff and the instrumental stuff, and you singing and occasionally like throwing a bar or two in here and there. Like there's like so many fun textures happening on this record that make it really easy to listen to, and just something that's like it goes beyond just being like background noise, like just like hearing you kind of experiment and tease these ideas out in real time is, like like it really does feel like you're just experimenting with way more confidence and just
That means a lot.
what you say.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's I had a really good time running this the amount of times I have, and just like listening to it, and see getting to see you play some of it, and like just seeing people react to it. I didn't ask about the first show, but I do want to know about the show you played with Tyler Merkaba, like for his Metal Snake show, and like playing that like playing these songs for an audience, and like how has it been getting used to that and just doing it? You know, like the idea of doing it can be kind of daunting, but you know, like actually being up on stage and being there with your guitar and like doing your shit, like how did it feel to be sharing these songs with people?
If like I could just say it feels nice and then but like it's one of those things where I don't really even process. Like it does feel nice. I think it really what everyone says, these cliches are really true. I think some people can are just so natural existing comfortably with themselves. Some people are um just turn it on, and I feel like I really just turn a little switch on. Like that's really what it feels like. And I think I no, I'm an anxious person. Like I love chatting and stuff. I am very high functioning, stuff like I just be chatting a lot, and people don't really tell the difference when I'm like nervous, when I'm just like excited. But it's
Get
cool,
that.
like So I'm chatting, like, but singing in front of people is just a level of turning it on I'm not familiar with. But I really do enjoy getting to experience myself in a dedicated space for me, for people to see me, and like I think like I'm in a serious light or passionate light. I think not even serious, but I don't really know what other word to use right now. But taking yourself serious, I guess, seeing take that's what's important to me. And um, I think at the end of the day, the higher self of me wants my to take myself seriously, and I want to be able to take something that means a lot to me seriously, and like have it be felt on stage. And I do believe in myself a lot. Like um I can't even really process, and I don't fully understand like the magnitude of like what I'm doing and what is all happening. But like I do know that I believe in myself, and I believe that like all the cliches of when you truly like believe in yourself and whatever it is that you're doing and whatever it is that you want to share, like as cliche as it sounds, people really do not only resonate with that and feel that, but subconsciously or consciously, it that the experiences that you provide can like linger into someone else's day in a positive way, where it's like expanding a thought they wouldn't have had before, or like
Yeah.
whatever the case is. I just um try to remember that I believe in myself and that I'm doing this for the highest version of myself. And that's not only an act to myself, but it's an act to for everyone, you know, like to experience and to cultivate within themselves.
Yeah, and you know, like that comes through in the music, and you're not the only person. I mean, you're clearly not the only person who feels that way. You've mentioned him quite a few times throughout this conversation. But I mean, like once again, our mutual homie zayALLCAPS. This project, you know, like you put out "Kissing the Machine" yourself, and this one came out on Autotune Karaoke, which is Zay's whole thing. So because we haven't really touched on it, I wanted to delve a little deeper into you guys' relationship, like how you met, and you know, like yeah, it's like how you, him, and Kwame met, and like you guys' synergy and like your values aligning and deciding to put this, you know, like this statement piece that you put together out, like entrusting it to somebody else. You know, it's just like walk me through your relationship with Zay and the auto tune karaoke folks, and you know how that's grown.
Of course, yeah. So like around this time of me starting music, like by the time I took myself was taking myself serious, when we wanted to start, I had already been listening to a lot of stuff. Like I already knew like a lot of like, because like yeah, you want to do this thing, so of course you know people who are doing this thing, like so like not like you're um taste expands. You consume a lot of different types, like a lot of different stuff. Um, so I had known about um, Zay and Brandon, and then I think, and then so I knew about them, and then I followed them, and then we are just like mutuals and stuff, and that's really how it came about. And then just like um, communicating more and talking more, and Smoothie as well too. You know, they're not really online as much, but like being in this space and not really having in my at the like when I first started before I like was even here, like not having much people to like with to share or like talk to, but then having people that are doing this thing. Um, I guess I really resonated um with the space that I had through them. So we're just interacting a lot, and yeah, like would send beats and stuff, and that would be cool. And I didn't even know that like Swoozy knew the both of them. So like when that came about, I was like, oh wow, that's already one circle that's like connected. Like that's like came full circle. Like how many more times will this happen?
Hmm.
So like that's happened, and then I was like for my birthday, I was like, I'm gonna go to LA because I like solo solo day for your birthday. So I had the means to live in a whole different life. I had the means to do that, so I did that, and um, just like hung out like homies. Like it was great. So like over time, you just build trust with these people. Like you talk to these people. Like me and Brandon, like a period of time, we would like talk about music every Friday. Like not even because it was playing, but because we just like talk about music, and it ended up being Friday, and we just end up showing music on our calls. Like so stuff like that happens, and um, you know, whenever they come to New York, like we always hang out. You know, they're like family for real. Um, and so I think, yeah, one time Zay was here for one of his trips. I don't really remember, but I was like just playing it in the background. And I was like, and then he was like, you want to put song on the label? I was like, sure. Like, I'm not going to say no to that. So that
Hmm.
was kind of really all it was. Um, yeah, it was super, like, they're genuinely like like homies and friends um, that like in my music community circle of like longevity and foundation. Like it's them and Sophie at the core, who's like really like been there. So
Hmm.
not to everyone else has been there for me in so many ways, as well. Like when I'm first starting, like that was the core. So just like
Yeah.
longevity, time, like you build bonds. And they talk about this and just saying like we're like being grateful for time and the blossoming of what um like a friendship can be, because it's like, oh yeah, like of course we both make good, like we both make music that we like and we're both doing cool things and cool scenes, but it's like, okay, like do we foundationally fundamentally like have this like same vibe to sustain like friendship. um so that's really how I feel with like all of those people that I mentioned. um so it kind of seemed like maybe preemptive or like hasty, but like time and longevity just ends up proving that like you were right in the decision that you decided and what you felt in your heart, but in time is confirming that in different ways over and over again through these things like the label. But they're all cool and super talented. Shout out all of them and Connor.
Yeah, man. Truly, shout out. I mean, like you've mentioned this idea of blossoming a couple times in this conversation too, and yeah, I mean, like since we're starting to get to the end of it, I figure might as well ask now, just like this idea of yeah, I mean, like how do you since you've really started to make music and have started to put it out and have started to gain like responses from people and doing shows and like you're really starting to like step into it in a serious way. Um, I know it hasn't been that long since you've done all of this, but since we're on the topic of blossoming, like how do you feel? How do you feel you've blossomed, just like as a creative, as a musician, just like as a person? Like, where do you think you are, or like how do you feel you've changed since the time you really started to put music out and take it serious?
This is a great question. Like, I feel like I always worded to people, well, really to myself. Like, just looking back, I said like longevity and time. I feel like I'm just always 2 years like ahead of myself.
Mm,
To where you want to get so impatient, and to where it's really hard to tell what is for you right now, what is for you to like take and and feed over a long period of time. But um, but yeah, I think even things with taking mm, forming myself more in different areas with like all of my different practices is what's really helping me blossom. Like, I think it really is just like living a artful and tasteful creative life, whether that's like, it doesn't really have to be tangible art. It could just be the way you decide to like look at things and giving yourself like grace. I think I just blossom by um trying to really sustain like a wholesome life, or a well-rounded life, I guess I would say, is really what's truly been helping. Like, I work with the library, so I feel like spaces like that, I'm like, I know a lot of what's going on with the community, so like that's helping me to know what's going on in those areas, and then making, you know, doing things like reading and engaging in different media, things draw attention to you. And I just kind of follow whatever interests me, ends up becoming a thread that I just end up following that ends up can expand into something else more, which I think um, really helps the person that I've become, because everything ends up becoming full circle in some way, even if like just because I'm just connecting and tying in all these threads over the course of time. Like, even the name
yeah.
of this EP, Not Jane, like I didn't even realize that on my like little side artist 451 degree, on like the publishing line, the label says Not Jane, but like I had no idea I even put that there or was even doing
Hmm.
that. So like me putting out that little side person or whatever was still an act of me pouring into myself of, oh, I'm creating, I'm making this at the time like ambient music, like, and that was just me like living my life with my practices and learning my scales and trying to um just grow more. And then like 2 years later, I had an album EP called, or the iterator called Not Jane, and like titled from the skills that I use in my daily life with computer science, like being my degree. So it's just kind of just a lifestyle thing, and maintaining being well rounded and being uncomfortable in the pursuit of nervous system regulation has been like, as long, that doesn't sound like an oxymoron. I just mean like doing what you don't want to do to like provide yourself comfort and regulation to help sustain you, really has helped me the past like, I don't know, a year and a half, a year or so.
Cool. That's great. Are there any other ways? Because I because in the piece I brought up before, you also mentioned how, just like your professions, like your different professions, like as somebody who works at the library, somebody who's an educator, somebody who works in computer science, and somebody who's a musician. Like, this is obviously a space all about intersectionality. So, just like as you started to take creating music in particular more seriously, are there any other ways you could think of that all the other stuff you do has informed the way that you make music, or vice versa?
Mm. Um, I think if anything, it's hope like I'm understanding things more in in more ways. And I feel just like I don't know if this is fully answering the question, but just like going back to this practice of all these disciplines and these things pouring into yourself, really all just is in the axis of um, necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as I can learn more, that doesn't necessarily mean that help is gonna like or resources are gonna come with that all the time. Like not like that's just the reality of things. So, but if I can obviously learn more within the pursuit of genuine interest, and this is genuinely what's important to me, um, then I can still be self-serving towards myself and towards others as well. Like working with other people has also helped me as well, especially musically, which is also tricky. I think I honestly don't always want to work with people musically, honestly, but
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like the instances like production and stuff, um, I always first of all, if I am doing it, it's because I want to and I'm enjoying what I'm doing with whatever is going on with whomever. But like it's helping me just become a lot more organized and structured. Um, because like having stuff like and a super organized notes file of every session that I'm having with people of like my thoughts and stuff is helping me just do more things um in my day and be more organized. Um, Also, I have a writing practice as well that's helping me a lot. Like I write every morning a few pages, um, and so I think I'm just giving room for my brain to be stimulated um, throughout the day, but then still balancing it out. Not to keep circling back around, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That's great. I mean, like having those practices is what keeps people grounded and just like ready to move on to the next step whenever it's time for the next step.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, Jane, to wrap this up, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
Well, if my life was a movie, what would it be about? I don't know. It would be a bunch of bullshit, but it would happen underwater. Like I don't know, like it
Cool.
has to happen underwater, like mermaids, seahorses, like shark tails. But I don't know. It would probably also could be one of these documentary film things, but stuff I'm like super silly IRL. It would be like super avant garde, high class kind of movie. And it would I don't really know. I don't think I would want a biopic, you know.
Hmm.
Mm. It would be honestly, if my life was a movie, aka let's manifest it to come in at some point in my life. I seen the Anita Baker One Night at Rapture like tour documentary. I need one of those.
Hmm.
And we can like put some plot lines in it to make it seem like fictitious and add some storylines in it. But I need one of those. Um, and like underwater, I don't know how that's gonna come in, but let's also get this on VHS as well. Like pop it in to
Yeah,
record it,
that's
um,
amazing.
or whatever it's called, you know. But
Fucking. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, that was it. That was it. I have no idea what it would be, but it would be crazy.
Yeah, that already sounds nuts. I'm thinking. You mentioned the underground aspect or underwater aspect. Excuse me. I forget the name of the movie, but there was some Disney Channel original movie that came out years ago with like a. It was like a kid who grew up on land, but then like when he starts going in the water, he like starts turning into a mermaid, and it turns out that he was a mermaid, and like he like and then the movie ends with him deciding to leave the surface world and what?
It's called like 13th Year or something like that.
Some shit. Let me.
Yeah, it is that. Right or no?
Oh, I'm checking right now. Yep, this is it. The 13th Year. This is exactly it. Yeah.
Also be one of the core movies like that, like earliest movies that I like recall as well.
Yo, like like that, like I hadn't. Once again, like I'm the same way. This movie came out when I was 7. You know, I just like you talking about that unlocked that memory for me, and like I remember the shot specifically of him at the end of the movie. He has like it's like a combination of like feet and flippers, and like he'll get in the water and he'll like grow scales and grow grow scales and gills and fins, and then eventually when he decides to go be with the mermaid people, the final shot of the movie is him like jumping out of the water with the full mermaid tail, and he goes down. And you know, I remember thinking how crazy cool it would be to be able to like switch between being a mermaid and being on the surface and having legs and shit. Like they figured it out in a way that Ariel, the Little Mermaid, hadn't figured out. So anyway, I could easily see your life story fitting in those parameters. So yeah.
Yes, so tangible, not crazy at all. Like what?
Completely possible. Yeah, you know what we're talking about. Yo, Jane, this was magical. I'm so happy we got to do this. Like, yeah, no, just as somebody who's, you know, just like been following your work a little bit since we first met a couple years ago, and like, you know, like hearing the process of it all and seeing you just become more and more confident. It's dope to me, and I'm happy for you and all your success. And I hope to see, I'm excited to see where you take all this. So, you know, I'm just happy we got to do this right now, and, you know, log it for the history books when you get your fucking Anita Baker biopic, you know?
Right. Thank you so much. This means so much. You have a fire platform. And I'm so excited to send this to everyone, tell them to pay and fuck with it, because this work is so important, like I said. Yeah, it was a great conversation, and you have so much fire things, and I'm so excited to keep on supporting. And yeah, always.
Yeah, no, it's super crazy, dead on mutual from this side. Like, trust me.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the Black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.